What is up, YouTube? Today we're going to be going over a fairly complicated and complex defense, but there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be extremely valuable to you as well, and some pretty nice adjustments behind it. Now, in today's video, this is the 3-4 playbook. This will only work in 3-4. Not any other playbook out there is compatible with the way that we're going to be running this defense. So be sure you're in 3-4. If you're on and run this, otherwise, if you guys are playing regs, you can make a custom and then you can go ahead and put the plays in that you need to. All right. So two different options for you guys depending on what you run. So starting off, we're going in nickel 3-5 and we'll be audibling to nickel 2-4-5. You guys may be thinking, well, why can't you just come out in 2-4-5? There's a reason for that. All right. So before we do that, we need to make sure we have our audibles set correctly. The play we're going to be audibling to is the nickel blitz 2. The reason for that is because the angle that the defensive tackles take are so much better in getting sheds than any of these plays, to be honest, except for buck slant 3. Buck slant 3 and nickel blitz 2 both are going to work just as well. Just one's a cover 3 with seam flats and the other one's a cover 2 with soft squats, okay, or cover 2 sink. We're going to come out in 3-3-5, but the first thing we got to do, we got to get our personnel set correctly, and this is going to be really complicated, all right? But just follow along and go back if you need to and replay it. What ends up happening is our defensive line will all shift over to the, what would be technically to the right, but from our view, it's going to be shifting over to the left, all right? Quentin Bell is going to move to the defensive tackle position. Vita Vea is going to stay at the defensive tackle, and then Ndamukong Suh is going to stay at the right end position. What happens is Andrew Adams gets shifted over to the outside linebacker position in 2-4-5, and then these two, Levante David and Devin White, get shifted over to the middle linebacker position. So if you guys wanted to have some more speed, some higher change of direction, agility, you can go ahead and sub in a safety like normal for all of these linebackers. Just to kind of keep it simple, I'm not going to worry about that right now. So the only important thing is to have a safety playing at Andrew Adams. Make sure he is where he is, because that's going to be crucial as we get into cross man. The next thing we want to do is we're going to come down to coaching adjustments and set our auto flip defensive play call to on. Make sure auto flip is turned on either in settings if you guys are going to run this, or go into coaching adjustments and change that manually instead. So we're going to go back into nickel 3-3-5. It doesn't matter what play you guys use, okay? We're going to use temp 2, and we're going to go off against gun bunch. Let's just go wide receiver post. So auto flip's turned on, the slot corner is going to match. We're going to go ahead, and as soon as the break the huddle, audible straight to the nickel blitz 2. And a lot of these quick adjustments are going to come with time, and so don't get too stressed out if it seems like a lot, because it is, but you'll be able to get it eventually. Okay, so we've got all flip turned on, we've got everything set up. What we're going to go ahead and do is, first off, notice that these guys all shifted over like I anticipated them to do. Devin White, Levante David are in the middle linebacker position, and we got a safety at this outside linebacker position now at the defensive line, okay? So we're going to go ahead and set this blitz up, this two-man blitz. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. After whatever ghost patch they did, some of these disengaged blitzes don't work as well, but you will still get some pretty good pressure. Again, this is going to be a two-man rush, but there's going to be a trick to it to be able to get it to actually work. So when we go ahead and quick adjust, double tap left on D-pad, you notice it acts like it's still in nickel 3-3-5, okay? And that's pretty much a bug in the game. They're probably never going to fix it because I don't think many people know about this. But you notice X, Y, and A, as if it's 3-3-5, are still part of the defensive line. Whereas normally if you were to come out in 2-4-5, Adams would be included in that. But if we double tap right on the D-pad, notice again, it's still treating it like a 3-3-5. And so Adams is still technically a linebacker. Now, a lot of these adjustments depend on what your opponent is running. If you're running a man defense, a lot of people are going to have an angle route out there. If they have hot route master, you can be guaranteed an angle route. If they have backfield master or running back apprentice, whatever it is, you can be guaranteed that they're going to have an angle route. I promise you there will be one at one point, because that is such a good way to beat man coverage. Now, if we're playing zone and maybe they still have that Texas route out there, you can take Devontae Adams and cross-man him to LaShawn McCoy. Now, you guys may be thinking, oh, why don't you just do that out of 3-3-5? The reason for that is because if you go in 3-3-5 or 3-3-5, the crossman is not nearly as effective because it's closer to the running back and they're much more likely to get burned than if they were to be further away, essentially on the opposite side of the running back. So say they have a Texas route out there, okay? So we're going to go ahead and put a Texas route out there. So YY up on the D-pad, we got a Texas route, right? And this is probably not too bad of a play to run, and then a lot of people will go ahead and slap him on a flat route and do something like this. Also, the nice thing about backfield master or whatever that mismatch ability is, because you're manning up a safety, it is no longer a linebacker, but you got to be careful because it's the game, from what I understand, it still registers it as a linebacker even though you sub in a safety. But you're going to have a higher agility, higher change of direction, and generally higher speed at a safety position than you would at any linebacker position in MUT currently. Now, as the year goes on, obviously players get faster, they get higher change of direction, they get higher agility, man coverage, etc. And so this is kind of only a temporary thing that we have to do until linebacker coverage gets better. So we can go ahead and take Adams and essentially cross-man him from the opposite side of the field and take away that angle route. Now, to kind of get a two-man pressure going, what we're going to do is Sue optional. You can, again, you please put a linebacker in there if you're going to put him in coverage or spy. I was just too lazy. You can drop him into a vert hook. You can drop him into a 3-rec by bluff blitzing, hard flat, curl flat, seam flat, man coverage. Don't do that because he's going to get burned. But you could do something really simple like this, okay, and have a double flat. The soft squat match vertically. Hard flat takes away any kind of check downs over there. And then right here, LB, you can take him. And again, you could do whatever you want with him. I'm going to put him into a bluff blitz 3-rec so he'll help cover the crosser. And then we can take Y and put him into a middle third. And then again, we're just trying to user the middle of the field as best as possible. If you guys haven't figured it out by now, the name of the game this year is play as much coverage with as little people pass rushing as possible. So we're relying a lot on disengaged blitzes to come through. Now, if you're simply rushing 2, you're not going to get any sheds or very seldom get any sort of pressure whatsoever. And so you kind of have to trick the game a little bit, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to take our user and we're going to blitz our user. So then the game registers it as blitzing 3, and then you get a little bit more pressure as well. So right here, what we're doing, and more so to try and get a disengage. Again, this is a guaranteed disengage. This is just a really good way to play defense. Is we're going to just come down and just swoop. Because what happens is you kind of see the angle they take. They go crashing towards the left guard, left tackle, and center. And so we're trying to discombobulate the whole offensive line by taking our user and trying to get disengages by swooping from left to right in this blitz. Okay, again, we're not actually blitzing your user. We're just making sure the game registers that we are rushing 3, because rushing 3 is better than rushing 4. EA. That's all I gotta say. So we're gonna go ahead and snap the ball, and we're gonna try just getting a little bit of disengage right there. And you can see we played the Texas route pretty darn good. It does get beat because it's a really bad safety. But obviously, if you were to have a higher speed safety with a little bit better man coverage there instead, you're going to be able to pull that off a lot better. Again, you guys that play MUT have a huge advantage over the people that play regs and that play franchise. Really simple, okay? Again, speed, that should be pretty obvious. It's crucial in this game. It's always been important. So again, pay attention to what Adams does when we go ahead and audible to a 2-4-5. You notice he shifts over to the left outside linebacker position. I'm going to go ahead and just RB down the right stick. That'll pinch press everybody. Just kind of knocks it out of the ballpark at once. You could drop X into spy. You could go ahead and put Y into mid read or vert hook, middle third, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can go ahead and then take X and drop him into a vert hook, and then LB bluff blitz him to get him into a 3-rec. And then you got maximum coverage, okay? And your user is obviously just going to be guarding whatever he needs to guard. So right here, we're going to try and get some disengages. Again, this is a really simple defense to kind of throw your opponent off guard. You can see right there how I was talking about we don't get disengaged that time, and that's why I was saying this is kind of an inconsistent two-man disengage. But again, the name of the game is coverage. Coverage, and try and get away with as little pass rush as possible. Because Madden 21, that's all I gotta say. But biggest takeaway with this is just have fast, people, okay? With Vita Vea, you cannot put an outside linebacker at his position. It has to be either a DT or a defensive end. So just put your fastest defensive end, because currently all defensive tackles are so freaking slow that they will never be able to get to Tom Brady, let alone Dan Marino. So yeah, that's going to be your best bet for defensive tackle. Just a fast right end or a fast left end. Either one of those would work just fine. And then remember, when you go ahead and audible to the next play, remember that this guy is normally at the right outside linebacker position. He shifts over to left outside linebacker. Your two guys right here, that this guy was a left outside, this guy's middle, they both shift over to middle linebacker. Your defensive end in 3-5 shifts over to defensive tackle. This guy stays defensive tackle, and that guy stays at defensive end. So just really simple things. Again, the name of the game this year, it's honestly just drop off the pass rush. Screw pass rush. And rush as little as possible. Again, when you're trying to pull this off, to try and get a disengage, you're going to have to blitz your user as well. And on top of by blitzing your user, you, for some reason, seem to run a lot faster than if you were to leave yourself in a zone coverage or in a spy. I don't know how that makes sense, but again, EA Sports, it's in the game. So really simple, okay? We'll just go ahead and try and get a little disengage going on. You can see right there, because it's a max protect, he's obviously not going to get very good disengages. But if we were to audible, let's just say verticals. Okay, just send out 5 routes. All right, so we'll go verticals. We'll audible to 2-4-5. Pinch everybody. Set it up. Let's just go ahead and drop him into spy, vert hook, 3-rec, and do something like this, right? Just really simple stuff, okay? This isn't overcomplicating things whatsoever. Again, it kind of comes down with time. Try and get some disengages. You can see there is a disengage going on, but it's just kind of confusing. And right there is a prime example of why this isn't super consistent. But when you are able to get a disengage happening, it basically happens within a nanosecond. Okay, this is as close to a nano blitz that we will probably ever have again after they put nano detection in. So if you guys are new to the channel, well, be sure you hit that subscribe button. This is just, it's super simple. Again, this is for 3-4 playbook only. If you guys are playing MUT, you have to have 3-4. If you guys are playing regs, you can make custom, have 3-4 or have 2-4-5 included with the nickel 3-3-5 to be able to get the players to where you need them to be at. So until next time, guys, get in the lab. This has been Team Maestro. See ya.